Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Welcome back to Matt Chat. It's my favorite show we do, Larson.
It's a good show.
Because we reach out and we see the friendos on the Patreon. They send us video questions and we respond to those video questions. It's good to be able to put faces to the friendoverse community.
Correct.
To the world of our audience.
Yeah.
The friendos. Anyways, we got a bunch of great questions today from a lot of our favorite friendos.
We do.
We got a bunch of questions today.
Yeah, we got a lot. So might as well get started. No plugs today.
No plugs.
We do plenty of plugs.
No plugs.
About
you know
too
what
many
they are.
plugs.
You know what they are.
You know where you can find us.
You know where you can find us.
First up, DJ Mott.
All right.
Let's see what DJ Mott has to say.
Agreed.
Hey, Stephen Larson. It is your Going In Raw sneakerhead DJ Mott here. Back with a pair of Nike Free Run Fly Knits, pair of Nike Air Hirachis, and my personal favorite, the Nike Air Max Ric Flairs. Just kidding, they're just flares, but I like calling them the Ric Flairs. Speaking of Ric Flair, do you guys think that The Miz is the current day Ric Flair? Not in title reigns, not in legacy, or anything like that, but just as a character. I think he's the best heel promo in the WWE, and I think he's probably the best heel in WWE. Anyways, would love to know your thoughts. Too sweet, hearty handshake. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, DJ Mott.
Thank you, DJ Mott.
His kicks, yay or nay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Is Miz a modern day Ric Flair? I would not really. I can see some parallels though. Remember when they tried to make him Ric Flair?
Yeah, but it was face Ric Flair and face Miz. That didn't work.
So superficially, I could see some parallels there. Miz has turned into a really, really good promo guy.
Yes.
And you know he has the Hollywood lifestyle, a high roller, if you will, kind of like Ric Flair was. He generates these days, especially, a pretty intense reaction with the WWE universe. When Ric Flair was like at the top of his game in like the mid '80s or whatever, did people like really hate him when he was like a heel, or did they love him, or it was like, oh, he's so bad, I want him, I want to be
both,
him.
Both.
Yeah, kind of, right?
I think both.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, we're both high on the Miz. We both like the Miz.
Oh yeah,
but
Miz is great.
Flair is like an all-timer.
Yeah.
He's an all-timer.
Yes.
And especially in his day, he was known as a best bout machine. Of course, his series with Steamboat netted some fantastic star ratings on the Wrestling Observer himself's star rating system.
Correct.
And I don't ever see Miz getting to that point as an in-ring performer. So you take that out of the equation. Ric Flair had a lot more natural charisma that you just can't buy, you can't learn. And Miz has had to sort of build his charisma up through legacy, through being there all the time. So I think no, but I could see some superficial parallels. What do you think?
Very superficial. I mean, you made the comparison between Miz being kind of like the Hollywood A-lister, at least kayfabe, and comparing it back to Ric Flair's character. But the only similarity is that they both, I guess, had money.
Yeah, I know.
Flair was, the jet-setting, limousine-riding, womanizing, whereas Miz is none of those things.
Yeah.
Maybe the limos.
Yeah.
But, he portrays himself as this Hollywood A-lister, this huge star, but he's a family man.
Yeah, true.
Can't
really say that about Flair.
No. In-ring, can't really make a comparison.
Yeah.
Flair was working 300 days a year, putting on great matches, working hour-long time limit draws.
Yeah.
He's an all-timer.
Yeah.
They're both. I don't mean to say this like I'm talking trash about the Miz because Miz is great.
We both love the Miz.
But it's hard to compare anybody to one of the greatest performers of all time.
Yeah.
It's a hard comparison.
You know what an app? So
And instead of saying, well, can the Miz be the modern day Ric Flair? How about the Miz just be the first Miz?
he should be the first Miz.
He should be the first Miz.
How about this? People have said Ambrose could be the next Stone Cold, And I'm like, no. It's kind of like that kind of comparison. It's like, I know people want to say who's going to be the next so-and-so. Ambrose is fine. I like Ambrose. I think he's great.
He's a great Dean Ambrose.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know
Kevin Owens could totally be the next Stone Cold, though.
He could be.
Yeah. Next up, we got a question from Ayo Worm, the Hall of Famer here on Going In Raw Matt Chat. Let's see what he has to say.
What's going on, friendos? Your boy Ayo Worm here back with another Matt Chat question. All right, Steven Larson. If you guys cover this in like Dersh or something, just let me know and I'll send another question. But how do you guys feel about whoever this person is, like just digging around celebrities' Twitter posts from like way back before they were hired, specifically in WWE, and like bringing up controversial tweets that can impact somebody's career? Let me know what you guys think about that. All right, bye.
Thank you, A.O. Worm.
Thank you, A.O. Worm.
Bringing the controversy today to Matt Chat. Of course, this is something we've seen recently with Cedric Alexander and I believe Ty Dillinger.
Ty Dillinger,
is that
yes.
Right? Was it a tweet thread between?
I think so.
Exchange between the two of them.
I think so.
Or they're apparently making some some bad rape jokes, like towards each other or something.
I didn't see the context.
I saw like one of them.
I saw the individual tweets, but I don't know what led to them. Regardless, not a good idea to do.
Well, I think it was also back like 2012.
It was 2012, yeah.
I mean, regardless of what era you're in, it's a bad idea. There's this thing right now in pop culture and society.
Why are you betting up this Finn Balor card, man? Did you see it was numbered as 8 of 50? This could be worth something.
Well, then.
Anyways, continue.
I'm sorry. Where people are digging up old tweets. We've seen this. James Gunn recently got fired from Guardians 3 for some really, really bad jokes he made back in the day. I don't know how much we should dive into this type of thing. I'll put my personal perspective is this. If there is a record in the public sphere on Twitter, if you will, or even a record in what was supposed to be a private sphere made public that betrays a sense of pure ugliness inside somebody, and that's been exposed for people to see. I'm thinking Hulk Hogan, the kid on the baseball team, the Brewers. Is that what, okay. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me for businesses to want to distance themselves from that.
Yeah.
Ugly jokes are ugly jokes. In the case of Ty Dillinger, Cedric Alexander, James Gunn, I even feel. Trying to be shockingly funny, saying words to be shockingly funny, or tweeting them out, and then establishing a history of having a soul, if you will, that, like James Gunn, for example, is very outspoken on Twitter in ways that I really appreciate.
Yeah, same here.
Seems like a real stand-up guy.
He has matured since those days when he said those terrible jokes.
That's what we call real change.
Yeah, he has grown as an individual, as a person. I don't think he's playing lip service to the idea that he is a different person now than he was then.
He accepted responsibility.
He did, and I believe he apologized years ago for those jokes as well.
He did. So that's why the entire cast of Guardians of the Galaxy has come out and said we really want him back. So I mean, look, man, there's a lot of gray in all this. How do you tell if somebody is truly a pile of crap? Or how do you tell if somebody simply said some immature stuff? Is it for us to judge? I don't know. I think it boils down more to with Cedric Alexander, let's take wrestling, for example. Is it going to affect his career? Should it affect his career? I think the answer is no.
No, he immediately, before I even heard what happened, I saw his response on Twitter. And he says, yes, back years ago, I found humor in this stuff. It was not a good idea. Yeah. I apologize for it. He took responsibility for it.
He says, I'm a family guy now. I have a husband and daughter, et cetera. On the flip side, you have somebody like Hulk Hogan.
Who doesn't seem to really grasp.
Who seems more concerned.
The real issue behind the controversy surrounding, or issue behind what he said. Yeah. He seems to be focusing on the fact that he was caught saying these terrible, terrible things, as opposed to really addressing
the ugliness that is within.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think it's funny because they're kind of dressed up in the same way, but they're completely different things in my opinion. They really are. It's like when Roseanne Barr said, I can't believe the same people who wanted me fired are coming to the defense of James Gunn. Well, it's because there's ugliness inside of you and you haven't admitted that. You still think that it's okay.
Yeah.
And what he did was a bunch of really horrible, stupid jokes.
He realized it was stupid and horrible, apologized for it.
Ages ago.
And grew as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a difference there,
Yes.
even though they can look similar. They can because they're words.
Yeah.
So I think it's, and on top of that, the people behind, let's try to dig up info and let's try to dig up dirt on people. What Roseanne said on Twitter was, like fresh. She just said it. It's like, no, you can't say things like that. They're terrible.
Yeah, you can't do
because you're, it's ugly. But the wave of let's dig into people's past. It's ugly. That's ugly in itself.
Yeah.
So there are my thoughts on it.
Yeah, we're in agreement.
Yeah. Next up, oh man, Maya Dope, another Matt Chat Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a question about SummerSlam,
Yep.
which is coming up. Let's see what she has to say.
Dope's daughter here, and there is a triple threat match at SummerSlam for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Who do you think is going to win it? Thank you.
Thank you, Maya Dope.
Thank you very much.
There was a cameo there.
Yeah.
By a smaller Baby Dope.
Yeah.
Aw, be still my heart. Who wins SmackDown Women's title at SummerSlam, Larson?
Carmella. And I feel like, I want Becky to win. I want Becky to win. It's time to put that belt back on Becky Lynch. However, I kind of feel like they're going to use Becky and Charlotte in the match. Carmella's going to find a way to pit them against each other and use that for her own benefit, leading to successfully defending her title at SummerSlam. They seem really invested on building up Carmella as a credible, legitimate champion, and I think her character work
Has been great.
has been outstanding. That promo she dropped on SmackDown,
Real good.
I've been saying for a while she's been one of the best talkers in the company. I
Real
think
good.
that proved that.
Real good.
Her ring work isn't quite up to where Charlotte and Becky are. However, her match against Charlotte told that she knows how to tell a story. She might not, be have the widest arsenal of moves, be able to do all sorts of crazy stuff, but wrestling more than anything is a medium to tell stories. And if you can tell an effective story, even if your pure wrestling ability is limited, you'll have me interested in what you're doing because you're getting me involved in the story you're trying to tell. Anyways, considering all that, I think they're going to go with Carmella. Eventually, Becky will get her one-on-one match against Carmella. Eventually, she will win that title, leading to Survivor Series, where I think it's going to be Horsewoman versus Horsewoman, and they're going to try to get as many belts on those 8 women as possible before that match.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they spun their wheels like that at SummerSlam, but you're wrong. It's Becky Lynch. She's going to win at SummerSlam. She's going to have to overcome. They're going to build the next couple of weeks. Her having to overcome her best friendoship with Charlotte and her biggest nemesis right now in Carmella. All sides coming at her. It has to culminate at SummerSlam. They can't do a thing. What's the pay-per-view after SummerSlam?
September, I think it's Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell? Do we
think
know? Oh, it's co-branded.
Yeah, they're all co-branded now.
Well, she's not going to go in Hell in a Cell with Carmella. So, yeah, I don't know. I get the feeling it's going to be Becky. It's going to be a big feel-good moment, and that's going to be juxtaposed with Ronda Rousey's big feel-good moment. Those two big feel-good moments are going to lead, like you said, to Survivor Series. I do think it's going to happen at SummerSlam. Becky Lynch goes over.
All right, I would not be disappointed if that happened. Next.
Oh, man.
I mean, this guy is on the fast track becoming a Matt Chat Hall of Famer.
He's the Kurt Angle of going in Raw with Matt Chat.
It's true.
Because he immediately made an Impact Nonstop player. He's back.
Hello, Mr. Steven and Starvin Larson. I was wondering if AJ Styles was to go back to New Japan, who would take his spot as the prominent role on SmackDown and probably the best wrestler on the main roster and the WWE champion? Thank you, Mr. Steven and Starvin Larson.
Thank you, Nonstop Player.
Thank you, Nonstop Player.
Hold on. You see how much I eat every day. Where's this Starvin Larson
I
thing
was
coming
going
from?
to ask you, are you hungry?
I am hungry, but you see how much I eat every day.
You eat a lot, man. Yeah.
I'm
You're
trying to...
bulk up. Yeah, well, Starvin Larson. I don't know what to tell you, man.
I don't know.
Must be hungry.
Must be
Nonstop
my-
Player knows something we don't know.
My garbage pail kid's name.
Oh, that could be. Yeah.
Could be.
Anyways.
Could be. Anyways, Steve, please go first.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to choose somebody who is still on SmackDown Live.
All right.
And I'm going to go
Is it
with
Daniel Bryan, because that's the obvious answer.
I'm not going to go with the obvious. We
right.
can both agree that's the
the
man.
obvious
Yeah,
answer,
he's
yes.
sort of 1B anyways. And
Yeah.
I mean, he could be 1A.
Yeah, I mean, they're treating Daniel Bryan as top story right now.
They
on
really
SmackDown,
are.
So
Yeah.
he kind of is
so
1A.
it's kind of Daniel Bryan. However, let's even take him out of the equation.
Yes, agreed.
Somebody else has to step up. I'm going to go back to the guy who carried NXT for such a long time. He's in the middle of an amazing heel run. However, we all know that amazing heel runs can lead to even bigger face runs. I'm going to go with Shinsuke Nakamura, another guy who could be going back to New Japan soon. I don't think AJ's going anytime soon at all. I think he's going to retire in WWE. But I think it would be Shinsuke Nakamura. I think that dude can put on the fantastic matches. He can consistently wow the crowds. People really, really loved him in NXT. He never really got the face shine that he deserved on SmackDown Live on the main roster. However, he's the man. He can totally be the man. I'm going to say it's Shinsuke Nakamura.
All right. My first answer was also Daniel Bryan, but that is the obvious one. And if we're going to bring someone over from another show, just bring Seth Rollins. He could fill the AJ role capably.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm going to say the New Day, specifically Big E.
Ooh, okay.
All three members of the New Day, wealth of charisma, great in the ring. And I've been saying for a while that of the three of them, I think Big E has world champion potential.
Yeah.
And I think it's, their run together has only validated that. He's great. He's hilarious. When he gets serious, he gets serious.
Yeah, he does.
He puts on fun matches.
Yeah.
I think it's all there.
He's got one of the best suicide dives, too.
I know. And I think they just need to let the New Day explore kind of a joint singles run.
Yeah.
Whether they all individually pursue singles endeavors while still being the New Day, or collectively go after, say, a singles title.
They could be the next Shield.
Yep.
I think transition into that.
Yep. I think it's all there.
Yeah.
And I think they could absolutely carry SmackDown. Absolutely.
I agree. Next up, we've got Matt Chat Hall of Famer Patrick Sparks. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey friendos, Pat here. Alright, so I'm watching NXT. I'm watching EC3 do his thing. And he's great, if I'm being honest. And he's having a decent match with Kona Reeves, who we won't talk about. But he's interrupted by the Dream. And made me think, a lot of people get over in NXT. Shinsuke, Tai, Finn, Joe, whatever. Some people don't get over on the main roster. So my debate for you is, Steve, I want you to debate the best outcome for EC3 on the main roster and the worst outcome. Larson, I want you to debate the best outcome for Velveteen Dream and the worst outcome. As a little bonus question, I'll talk about Kona Reeves a little. Is this his final packaging, his final evolution to say, or will he be repackaged again because at the moment nobody gives a shit? Thanks, friendos. Cheers.
Thank you, Patrick Sparks.
Thank you, Patrick Sparks.
So before we get to the main part of his question, let's talk Kona Reeves real quick.
Yeah, okay.
Is this the final version of Kona Reeves?
I mean, it should be.
It should be.
I thought you meant.
Are we gonna get another repackage? Is there gonna be a
we
further
should.
evolution? Yes.
I thought you
yes.
meant have we closed the door on this version of Kona Reeves with this past week?
Yes, we should have.
Yeah, we should have.
We should have.
Yeah.
Anyways, what's the outlook for the Velveteen Dream? I mean, he's got all the ingredients. He's got a ton of charisma.
He's damn good.
He's great on the mic. He's great in the ring. He's got it all. Plus, he's 23 years old.
I almost feel
22. He's super young. He's super
Yeah.
adaptable. In the short time he's been in WWE, we've seen him, even just in this Velveteen Dream character, fulfill different roles and show off different aspects of his character. And I think that's what makes NXT a great avenue for Velveteen Dream, is that it allows him to delve into the layers of character that he might not get on the main roster. And that's my worry. And that's why I think there's a huge variance between what we can expect from him, because it could be great. It could be world champion. It could be WWE champion or universal champion. The skills are all there if his creative is handled properly. If they allow him to be complex, be interesting, go out there and put on matches and drop promos like he can, sky's the limit. However, if they make him kind of a one-note character, it could probably go pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like real bad.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we said WWE has someone on their roster, the main roster, that can make them a ton of money?
Yeah.
And they bungle it.
Yeah.
Velveteen Dream is that kind of talent that on the main roster, if booked properly, if given good creative that he can really get into and work with, he is a license to print money.
Mm-hmm.
But if they screw it up, it's going to be bad.
He could go on a 5-year excursion and still come back younger than Adam Cole is now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
He is so young.
Mm-hmm.
I am fascinated to see where he's going to be when he's that spot of like 31, 32, 33.
When he's in his prime, yeah.
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 He could leave, come back, and still be super young.
Mm-hmm.
So Patrick Clark, I think he can do everything. He can go all the way in the WWE on the main roster. It might take longer because who knows what Creative's deal is.
Yeah.
It might take him leaving and then coming back. But he is absolutely fantastic. I think they're pretty high on him.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was talk of him being brought up to Maine after Mania.
And I think he's smart enough and clever enough and creative enough so that he could weather whatever Creative gave him. I'm not throwing that out there as a challenge for WWE's Creative.
No.
But let's talk about EC3. Upper mid card, secondary champion, U.S. champion, IC champion is exactly where he can go. Like tomorrow, it's kind of where he'd end up 5 years from now anyways. He's Mr. Perfect. He is today's Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect might have been better in the ring. I don't really know. I mean, EC3 kind of is, he's really good, but he's not like standout good.
Yeah. Mr. Perfect was one of the best sellers.
Yeah, he was. He was one of the best in-ring workers. Mm-hmm. But I still feel like the total, the entirety of the package screams Mr. Perfect for me, or Rick Rude, I guess. So yeah, I would say strong IC champion, and then maybe if there's like a ton of injuries, WWE champion, whichever is the top belt. I'm sorry, whichever is the top belt on whatever the secondary brand ends up being after SmackDown moves. If there's an injury bug, maybe that. But I kind of feel like what you get with EC3 is what you get. Like what you see is what you get. There's not going to be a whole lot of variation. There's not going to be a whole lot of change.
I agree. My worry is Bob Roode. That's my worry.
Oh, I would doubt that. Here's the thing. Bob Roode is...
You doubted Bob Roode would happen on Maine, and Bob Roode happened on Maine.
There's a difference there, though.
No, I know there's a difference.
What is EC3?
He's like all energy and personality.
Oh, what's his heel or face? What is he?
Neither.
Exactly. What's the glorious one, Bobby Roode?
Well, he's a face, but in NXT. But here's the thing.
Yeah,
when
Bobby Roode is being shoehorned into something he is not comfortable with.
And you don't think they might do that with EC3? They've done that several times with NXT call-ups.
What can they shoehorn him? Look, okay, I'm not going to put it past them. It would take a massive bungling to get EC3 wrong. You just put him out there. He's EC3. Bobby Roode, that wasn't the case. Bobby Roode, his run in NXT, he had some really fantastic matches. His character never really had definition in terms of what their storylines were for him. He came in, this is my NXT. I want to fill the place with suits and CEOs and stuff. Okay, great. How do you achieve that? Never said. Never did anything with that. Never did anything with that.
Yeah, I think after that first promo, they just went to something else.
He had a gimmick. It was glorious. He was defined by a theme song. EC3's theme song is suited to him. Bobby Roode's theme song was apparently supposed to be like Shinsuke's or something. I think they're different, and I don't know if there's something you can shoehorn EC3 into. Yeah, I don't know. You can't really misinterpret him.
I thought it was pretty, like Bob Roode on Maine was pretty straightforward. Just do what he did in NXT.
But what is it he did in NXT?
He was a good heel.
Yeah.
He was a good heel. He didn't necessarily have to cheat to win.
But that's easy to bungle. Just don't make him a heel. How do you bungle EC3?
You make him a smiling, happy babyface.
He smiles all the time.
Yeah, but there's something more to it than just, hey, I'm smiling, happy babyface.
Is there really, though?
Yeah.
I don't think there is.
I mean, we're convinced that part of his gimmick is cokehead.
Part of EC's... Yeah, it's great.
And you think they're going to allow him to be that kind of fidgety on the main roster? Probably not.
I don't think they can control that aspect of his personality. That's just who he is. I really do. I think he's kind of bungle-proof.
We thought that about Authors of Pain, too. You just go in there, have them destroy everybody, and put the belts on them. It's that simple.
Is EC3 going to end up in the loser's locker room?
Let's have this conversation again in a year.
How much of a difference is there between EC3 and Zack Ryder, really?
I mean, I think EC3 is more interesting.
I think he's more clever.
Yeah.
I think he's more naturally more clever. And in the end, that's the biggest thing.
Could be.
That matters a lot.
Yeah, but that's also dependent on opportunity. If you're getting an opportunity to show how clever you are.
And his catchphrases, his entrance theme is catchy, not everything. It is.
Yeah, it's all right.
You're right. And
It's
all right
right.
is, listen, that's my point, though.
No,
all
I know
right
you
is
mean.
good.
I know. You don't want anything
that's what you want.
You don't want anything to overshadow everything else like Bob Roode.
Exactly. Bob Roode's a lesson that we've learned.
A theme song is not a character, and a character is not a theme song.
Yeah, exactly.
Despite what Vince McMahon may tell us.
Yeah. So I think EC3 is bungle-proof. Again,
I don't think on the main roster anybody is bungle-proof.
Not a challenge I'm throwing down.
No. Next from
Christian! At last, he is naked.
Let's see what Christian has to say.
He's naked. Look.
Hey, friendos. It is the Hall of Famer Christian here with the naked Matt chat question. Don't ask why I'm naked. My question to you guys in honor of the Evolution pay-per-view announcement is who is the best women's wrestler from every era? So you can do, from every era that we had women's wrestling up until the new era now. And then I'm challenging you to power rank all of those women to the best of your ability. Too sweet and a hearty handshake. Thanks.
You could have just told us that you were shirtless. You could have just not said anything, and we just assume he's just chilling in his shorts or something. Apparently, he was naked. This is a PG-rated show.
Yeah, Steve. Go ahead.
Women's wrestlers. 80s. I don't know. 70s, 60s, and 70s. I don't know. I'm not as well versed as I would like to be.
Same here. So yeah,
I know women's wrestling in the 50s was hot.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
70s, I don't know. 60s, I don't know.
Yeah, same here.
80s, Wendy Richter.
Yeah, agreed.
90s, Medusa.
All right,
Alundra Blaze.
I said Manami Toyota. I'm not that familiar with her
You're
work.
You're probably right.
However, everybody says she's like the greatest women's wrestler
there
ever.
you go. There you go.
We gotta
right there.
mention her.
All right. So I have then the Attitude Era. I've got Lita.
Yeah, I have the early aughts, Lita.
Okay. Then I've got the aughts. I've got Mickie James.
All right.
And then I've got in the Divas era kind of thing, I got AJ Lee.
Yeah, that's good.
Because she was sort of like not the diva of the Divas era.
Yeah.
So she's fantastic.
Yeah, she was great.
Now it's Charlotte.
Now it's Asuka.
Now it's Charlotte. Charlotte's the standard.
No, Asuka's the standard, man.
Well, she was until she lost to Charlotte in about 12 minutes.
That's kayfabe. That's and the criteria is third. That's third. Being good, legacy. Those are first two. It's in order.
Yeah, well, being good. Charlotte and Asuka might have a step on Charlotte, maybe. The next one, legacy.
You're only thinking about WWE, man.
Yeah, I know.
Don't.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
No.
Well,
you gotta expand your horizons.
All right.
Asuka's best right now. Anyways, we got power rank.
Charlotte.
Everybody here.
Okay, power rank everybody. Okay, so I would guess that Manami Toyota is number one.
Yeah, from what I hear, she should be.
Probably.
Yeah.
This weekend, I'm going to put together a playlist of her matches.
Good idea.
We're going to educate ourselves, man.
Yes.
I would say number 2, Lita. Lita was great. Oh, man, you know what? No, screw that. I'm sorry. Attitude Era, China.
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
And in which case, China's number 1. Come on, man. She was in the Corporate Rumble. She was almost WWE champion.
I know. That's again, more kayfabe than the first two.
Kayfabe's kind of everything in this, though, isn't it?
No, it's not. No.
Lita was a better wrestler than China.
Yeah.
But does that really matter?
Yeah.
Legacy, China, Intercontinental Champion. Corporate Rumble, almost WWE champion.
I understand all that.
China's number 1.
No, China's number 2.
Okay. Okay. Number 3.
Then you can say Lita, because Lita's still on my list.
Okay, Lita. Number 4.
Asuka.
Asuka Charlotte. I think they both occupy number 4.
5, AJ.
AJ. 6, Mickey James. 7, Wendy Richter. No, Medusa's above AJ, then Mickey James, then Wendy Richter.
All right. That's it, I think.
And that's it.
I think that's it.
Good job, us.
I think we did it.
Next up, we've got Adam Nuttall, my Zodiac Killer.
Your Zodiac Killer.
Isn't he on like a walk now?
Yeah.
Is this where he's on a walk?
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Hello, Stephen Larson, walking the dog late at night, and I thought of another match-up question for you. I'd just like to know, with Evolution and all the women coming back, what legends would you like to see return? One legend return. And what wrestler who used to wrestle for WWE would you like to see return? For me, it'd be Emma, and if any legend could return, China, but obviously that's not going to happen because of what happened. But I'd love to know what you think. Thanks, and I'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you, Adam Nuttall.
Thank you, Adam Nuttall.
It's hard to be like an intimidating serial killer if you got like a cute pup. Walking around with a cute pup. So anyways, who do you want to see return for Evolution?
I agree with you with AJ Lee.
It's AJ Lee.
It's AJ Lee.
That'd be great because then that means CM Punk will come back too.
No, it doesn't mean that at all.
No, it doesn't?
No.
Oh, if she came back, I guarantee he'd be on good terms with the company. You think she would show up without him being on good terms with the company?
I don't know about good terms, but maybe civil.
Well, isn't civil what they're on now?
No. They just got to have a lawsuit.
Yeah.
It's not civil.
Well, they don't have to talk to each other. That's civil. That's civility.
No, civil is being able to, like, stand each other in the same room. You think he's in the same room with Triple H? They'd be cool?
No, man.
No.
It'd be like that Don Fry, what's-his-face pancreas match. Yeah, it's AJ Lee.
It's AJ Lee. Although, like, if Eve Torres came back, that'd be cool. She was good.
I liked her.
Yeah, she was good.
She's a Gracie now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think she has little Gracie kids. Probably climbing on top of each other, choking each other out. Scary kids, man. Next up, we've got Loki. I think is he under a bed here?
I believe that's what he says. Let's take a look, though, just to confirm.
Hello, Stephen Larson. Loki Richard here, the Freak of Flight, representing the Freak Legion like always. Coming at you from under your bed. My Matt Tack question for you today is, who is the best masked wrestler? I am taking Rey Mysterio off the table because he is my personal favorite masked wrestler. So, besides him, who is the best masked wrestler? Have fun with the debate, and Stephen Larson, I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Loki.
Under your bed. Very scary. I'm gonna have to check under my bed when I go home.
Yeah.
We got some
creative people out there.
Wide variety of individuals we
Yes.
have. The answer is Jushin Thunder Liger. There was some stat out there that said he wrestled 255 months in a row
Before this last month.
before July of 2018. That's insane. That's absolutely crazy.
I
What's
think
the matter? 2 by 12. 21 years.
He had
and
at
a
least
quarter.
one match a month.
At least one match a month.
Yeah, he's a legend, man.
For 21 years. That's
Most
work ethic.
decorated junior heavyweight in New Japan's history, I
That's
believe.
dedication right there. I think he's like number one masked wrestler, maybe of all time.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that.
Or El Santo.
Yeah, in terms
He
of
was in
legacy,
movies.
I know El Santo's pretty up there. I don't know if I've ever watched any of his matches.
Well, I've seen him fight like werewolves.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
And like mummies.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
So I thought of him. I thought of Ultimo Dragon.
Sure.
He was great.
Yeah.
Very influential.
Yeah.
Today, for me, is Pentagon Jr.
Oh, are you kidding me?
He's the man.
Tops. Him or Phoenix, man. Phoenix.
Yeah,
is so
Phoenix is
good.
great too.
Ooh, so
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on, Adam. God. Adam Mayhem has a question.
Adam Mayhem.
Buenas tardes, Orlando University. Bienvenidos to another edition of Chit Chat with the Champ. Now, Stephen Larson, got a quick question for you. Wait. Where are you? There you go. All right. So, we all know what you kind of, sort of like about wrestling. So, I want you to debate what is the worst thing about professional wrestling. Just each of you pick one and convince me of why that is the worst thing about wrestling. It could be in the ring, locker room, whatever you want.
Thanks, champ.
I have to remember to email Walter, see if I can get that match hooked up.
You better raise some money first.
Anyways, worst thing about pro wrestling? Oh, Adam Mayhem.
Wrong. It's fluorescent tubes, man.
Oh, those
man.
are
Been to
worse.
2 shows where fluorescent tubes have been utilized, and both times, huge chunks of fluorescent tubing goes flying into the audience.
Why do they do that?
I don't know. And you see those videos, people getting power bombed and stuff through these huge things, the fluorescent tubes, people getting cut up and seriously injured and cutting arteries and almost dying.
All right.
It seems no one needs it.
Nobody needs
No one
that.
needs it. Just tell a good story in the ring.
So
That's all I want.
mine is related, but it's a bit more broad. It's just damage to the body. Man, that must suck. I once said this. We were sitting at the house show with Mark when we went with Mark. And I was during the Rollins and Ambrose versus the Thebar match.
Yeah.
Rollins took a bump, and I looked over to Mark, and I was like, these guys take what, maybe like 20 bumps per match, something like that, right?
250 matches or 150, 170 matches a year.
Right. If I took a single bump, a single flat back bump,
You messed up for weeks.
I would be messed up for probably weeks. Like, that's crazy. And I know obviously they're all in shape, they do practice and stuff, but man, the idea that there's something that they have like a bump card, like I've only got so many bumps left in me, you know? I wish that it was not as difficult. And the thing is, like, with stuff happening to guys like Ticking Time Bomb, Will Ospreay, with the way he goes, these guys need to dial it back a little bit sometimes, you know? Stop trying. I know we all like GIFs on Twitter of crazy stuff. You don't have to do that to have a compelling match, all right? So just dial it down. Dial it down.
Dial it down, Steve says.
Dial it down.
Dial it down, Steve said.
Yeah. Next up, here we go. Stevie Bradley, the official enforcer of Going in Raw. He's got a question about that which he enforces
Going in Raw.
Hey, Steven Larson and all the friendos out there. It is the official Going in Raw enforcer Stevie Bradley here with a weird little question. And it's not about really wrestling per se. It's more about Going in Raw. Now, wrestling has eras. Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, PG. I feel Going in Raw has that as well. So I was wondering if I could hear from Steven Larson, what are the eras of the Going in Raw show? Now I know that it's probably one where it's Office Space versus, or before that was in Steve's house. And then, 5 days a week. Now we're going into 5 days a week live, and then patrons getting the post show, which I'm all down for. Get your money. But I'm just wondering, what are these eras? Because I'm seeing, like, on Mad Chat, TNA for Life hitting it hard out there. Then you got old school people like Patrick Sparks, Adam Mayhem. I've been doing it for about a year. You got other ones like Adam Fella, haven't seen for a while, but I know he's still hanging out there. Jason the Cabbie, recently played him in a 2K18 tournament that Thayer Thabata was running through the Friendoverse that Mikey Omega put together. So it's just a rich environment that I really love and appreciate being a part of. But I'm just wondering, do you have clear eras of Going in Raw? And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Too Sweet and a hearty handshake. And I understand if this question doesn't really go anywhere because, I don't know, the mind was just going. Anyway, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Stevie Bradley. So, the eras of Going in Raw. Well, Going in Raw kicked off with the Dan era.
Yeah.
The golden era of Going in Raw.
The monthly era.
Is when we did it every month.
We only do it after pay-per-views.
After pay-per-views. Then came our layoff era, which is when we decided we'd like to do it weekly. We just got laid off. We're going to see if we can make this work.
Yeah.
So we did it weekly without Dan, but monthly with Dan, I think, still.
Yeah, for the most part.
And then he sort of started like trickling away. I wonder if a lot of people don't know that Dan Nerd Cubed is the third founding member of
Yeah, I don't
Going
know
in
if
Raw.
they know how important Dan is to the creation
was
of Going
all
in
the
Raw.
important.
I mean, that was the instigating incident was a conversation with Dan. That's what started all this.
Yeah, man.
He's the one who coined the name of the show.
Who would have thought? We have a machinima collaboration order to thank for going in Raw.
For all this.
For all our success.
Also, that's another era we gotta talk about is the pre-going in Raw era where we used to drop wrestling references into our episodes of 10 for the win.
Yeah. Well, no, there's like, it's like
like-
our
it- like- it's
our
like the-
Pangea was Tree of Woe.
Yeah.
Because we had a wrestling podcast prior to going in Raw. And we had always thought about maybe coming back around to like a wrestling podcast after Tree of Woe.
Well, Tree of Woe became something far more than a wrestling podcast.
Like a 3-hour chore.
2.5 hour.
Yeah. So there was the Dan era, the layoff era. Then we came upon
The Patreon era.
the make it or break it era, which was aka the Patreon era. We decided to do the Patreon. And shortly after the Patreon, we realized, well, the more content we produce, the more views we get, the more people will give us money for Patreon, the more ad revenue we get on YouTube. So then it became more or less the daily era.
Yeah, it built to that.
Yeah, it built to the daily era. And then was I don't know, the like.
And that was it was Office era.
Then it was Office era, sort of now.
And kind of like running concurrent to all that has been the growth. You know, in Enforcer talks about it quite a bit. Is the birth, and that goes way back to the 10 for the Win days. But the growth and the expansion of the Friendoverse.
That's a whole other thing.
Not just the Facebook group, but the larger Friendoverse, our community, which is the absolute best.
Yeah.
Our community is awesome.
Yeah, and it's like, it's funny because like if we go back and look at some of the old, the old Going in Raw friendos, we still have a bunch from, back then.
Even back from the 10 for the Win days.
Like Ulysses, Christopher Kaufman, Anthony F. is out there still. Yeah, and then all the way up till today. So many names that I still like. Patrick, like you said, Patrick Sparks is from the old days. Yeah, like there's probably like if I go back and watch an old episode, I'll be like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, and all the in jokes that I've damn just forgotten at this point.
I know.
There's been so many in jokes of it because I don't store a lot up here. So I don't know. I guess those are just the eras. There was the two cam era.
Yeah.
When we would go back and forth. We would cut.
Yeah.
And then we went to the set era at my house.
Yeah. But even then, within then, there was an era because you only had one of these. So you had that mic, and I had a lavalier.
That was a mini era.
Yeah, that was a little mini era.
There was
then we got two of these.
The Daily News Show era.
Yeah.
That was a short era. Yeah. There's been two of those?
Yeah.
We did what?
We did short daily shows for a while. We did them for Machinima for a while. I think we did them on our own for a while, stopped, and then started doing it again.
The Machinima ones. Yeah, we had a whole wrestling Machinima era.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all crazy.
A lot of eras.
Okay.
A lot of eras.
All right, moving on.
Great question, Stevie Bradley. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it really it tugged on my heartstrings a little bit. It's like, oh wow, we've got a lot of great people out there.
We do.
It's so awesome.
Next, Thayer Thabata, Matt Chat Hall of Famer. Let's see what Thayer has to say.
Who is the most going in Raw wrestler of all time?
I'll take this one, Steve. Lex Luger is all time the most going in Raw wrestler all time.
Okay, but here's the thing.
There's only one reason you're going to mention Dominik Dijakovic, and it's because he looks just like Top Notch. Otherwise,
what will he have to do?
This man right here is the most going in Raw wrestler ever.
In 20 years, is it possible for Chris Dijak to usurp Lex Luger?
I mean, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
But the answer isn't who's going to be going in Raw wrestler or the most going in Raw wrestler in 20 years. It's now.
All right.
Lex Luger.
He is the most confounding one. He's very confusing.
It's the most going in Raw wrestler.
Next up.
No argument.
Next up, we've got, you're right. I'm not arguing. Joshua, the Dynamic Knight Martinez. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, friendos. Joshua Martinez back this week. Just waiting to get here into work. So I thought I'd do my question. So we all remember the territory days. We know what they are. My question is, do you think if Vince never bought all those territories up, and they were still here now, would wrestling be better for it, or would it have it been worse? With all these territories being all around the country, there'd be a surplus of wrestling promotions for specific regions. and we have the internet, so I could be watching something from, Florida or the East Coast. Or do you think someone would have eventually came and bought all the territories up anyways, even if it wasn't Vince? Let me know what you friendos think.
Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you,
I
Joshua.
said thank you, Joshua.
I think he did that last week too.
Thank you, Joshua.
Or 2 weeks ago.
Would wrestling be better territories? We're still around. Who goes first?
I'll just go first.
You go first, because I kind of have a response to your.
I think they kind of are.
In a way.
In a way, not in the way they were then, obviously, because there's no unifying body like the NWA was back, in the territory days. However, regional territories have never disappeared completely. Some of them have local television distribution.
True.
And now with things like the Fight TV app, we can sit in the comfort of our home and watch championship wrestling from Hollywood.
Can you watch that with me one day?
All
It's
right, fine,
great.
Fine. Or championship wrestling of Arizona.
It's great.
Or all sorts of other regional promotions from the comfort of our home. I mean, one of the things that helped drive WWF in the early days, there was first the consolidation of all the talent and some of the territories, but also they got that plum cable spot from Jim Crockett on TBS. And that's what really launched them into the stratosphere, is they got regular national television coverage on burgeoning cable stations. Now you don't need cable. You can cut the cord, watch all your stuff streaming on the internet. So I really feel like we're on the verge of seeing a real explosion of regional wrestling becoming more popular, because you can find it so much easier than you probably ever could. Again, it's not the same territory type system we had. It's not even close. Nonetheless, I think regional wrestling territories or regional wrestling promotions, they'll never disappear, even as like little, smaller promotions here in Northern California or LA that may never get any distribution on the internet. They're not going away. People just like going to wrestling shows with 100 other people, watching people go out wrestling for a little bit of money and just to get the experience and have a good time.
So, number one, I feel like the nationalization, I guess, of wrestling was inevitable. If it wasn't Vince, it would have been somebody else would have come up with that idea. Those old NWA guys who were so hard set on keeping the territories alive would have died out. Somebody would have done it. You look at Disney right now, snapping up Fox properties and Sony and all that kind of stuff. So, they got Spider-Man. They're co-producing Spider-Man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right. So you see all these conglomerates sort of, doing the same thing. It was inevitable. If it wasn't Vince McMahon, it would have been, I don't know, what was Vern Gagne's son's name? Whoever that was. Greg, yeah, it would have been Greg Gagne. He would have done it. I don't know. It would have been somebody young. So that would have happened. As far as the regional aspect of things, I agree with you in that there will always be a regional aspect. Brian Zane on Twitter responded to a fan, or responded to a question from a fan about that. And his point was kind of sobering. He said, yes, regional wrestling is still around, but here's the thing. Back then, if you were the curtain jerker in WCCW, you still probably got a pretty hefty payday. I don't know about ECW, but I'm talking about like the 80s, 70s and 80s. Those regional promotions, AWA, out here, there was an AWA in San Francisco as well. I forget what they called it. But, you had up in Detroit also. You had all the great territory, Memphis. Curtain jerkers, like the guys who came out first, they would get a pretty hefty payday because so many people would pack. They would pack so many people, everybody would get paid. These days, if you're not one of the top guys, I'm talking about and I don't know how much guys like David Starr makes, Joey Janela, he's out there doing a lot of things. You got all these names that we all know of because of social media. Their payouts are probably pretty decent. They're probably pretty good. You go down the line on the rest of those shows, and it probably gets pretty skimpy towards the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
You're looking at a lot of students. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so in terms of the days when there are a lot of territories, there are a lot of regional wrestling where the wrestlers are making even close to a living wage, I don't know if that's ever going to come back. I just don't know. I'd love to think it would. I'd love to think, and I don't know what it was like during the Attitude Era, if there was a trickle-down effect, if wrestling was so popular at the top that it trickled down to the regional aspect of things. I don't know. I think that would have been the best thing to look at. Could this happen again? Did it happen in the 90s during the Attitude Era? But I would that's sort of the biggest difference is are all the wrestlers in those promotions making decent money? These days, I kind of doubt that that's the case.
Yeah.
And then the WWE also seems intent on quashing any real regional growth anyways, because they'll just, do their thing.
They'll just go in there and take all their good talent.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Next up, we've got TNA for Life. Let's see what he has to say.
What's up, friendos? It's your boy TNA for Life, here for another match chat question. It's been a very stony Sunday, and my mind has wandered onto deep depths that it has never touched before. And it has led me to asking you this question. Mainly inspired by Bruce Pritchard's Something Else to Wrestle. What would have saved WWE's reincarnation of ECW? You can't say nothing. You have to each say at least one thing. I'll tell you what I think. I mainly think that Rob Van Dam and Sabu getting pulled over was just like a kick in the balls to everything that they had been building to. It sucked that happened at the timing that it did. Because I think if Rob Van Dam had some time holding both those titles, it would have made ECW huge, and then it could have led to a lot of really cool storylines. Eventually, ECW it turned into NXT, which I'm not going to complain about, but I want to know what truly would have saved ECW, and would have established it as an equal third brand to Raw and SmackDown. Thank you very much. Too sweet. Hearty handshake. Peace out.
Thank you, TNA for Life.
Thank you, TNA for Life.
You can go first, Steve.
So the answer, nothing would have saved WWE's ECW. Is that off the table?
Yeah.
Okay. Paul Heyman. I think if they had given him the reins, said, "Hey, look, Paul, here are your boundaries. Don't cross them."
If you tell the Paul Heyman, that's the first thing he's going to do, though.
Well, here's the thing. It'd be like like a kid. You'd have to say, "Here's your boundaries," understanding full well that he was going to cross them, and so you set the boundaries really close in.
Yeah.
And say, don't cross them. Keep it on a certain level. Right the hell out of it. Maybe at that point, ECW had a chance.
I think my point is not too dissimilar from yours. I just think it didn't retain the spirit of ECW in the least. It was overproduced.
Yeah.
It was too glossy, just like another WWE show.
Yeah.
With a talent roster that had a couple people here and there from Raw and SmackDown, and a few holdovers from ECW.
And
it lacked cohesion.
Also had a zombie, I think. Like a vampire.
Yeah, vampire. It lacked real cohesion. And towards the end, it kind of felt like a dumping ground.
Yeah.
It just didn't. It retained the name, but none of the spirit of ECW. Yeah. And I think that's what. I'm not saying you necessarily have to do, hardcore wrestling or barbed wire matches or bloody, matches or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You just need kind of DIY aesthetic. You need it rough around the edges. You need like a rebel attitude behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you really need, and it had none of those things.
Yeah.
So there was no buzz about it because it just felt like another WWE product with a different name. It didn't feel like an alternative to what was actually already on TV.
Yeah.
And that's what it needed to be, even if it was a WWE thing. They should have like not even associated with main roster WWE at all.
Didn't they film it 205 Live style? Like after,
yeah.
But before dark matches?
Yeah.
Yeah, after a taping. Yeah. It's not going to work.
Nope, not going to work.
Not going to work.
You think they would learn something?
It's just like, let's put the cheap entrance set up, and people are going to love it because it looks cheap.
Yeah. No, it didn't work that way.
Nope. Jake Atchison has a question. Let's see what Jake has to say.
Hey, Stephen Larson and friendos. My name is Jake, first-time Patreon donor, long-time watcher. I just got back from seeing Slayer in Bangor, Maine at the Impact Festival. All I could think about was having one of those Slayers t-shirts in the crowd. Gonna get one soon. But here's my question. Matt Riddle is rumored to have just signed with WWE. So as the Ultimate Bros possibly going to be in the company now, what possible dream matchups, opponents, storylines would you guys like to see him in? Hope to see you again. See ya.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
So.
Oh, who goes first? Do I go first? I go first.
Well, I'm just going to say this real quick, and then I'll be done with it. Jake, I have good news for you. Last week, we did an episode of Count Out where we give you not 1, not 2, not 8, but 10 Matt Riddle dream matches. My number 1 is probably Brock Lesnar. I think it'd be great. Go ahead.
My number 1 is Daniel Bryan. Although AJ Styles is number 1 on the list because AJ Styles is, I think, generally regarded as best wrestler in the company. However, I think Matt Riddle versus Daniel Bryan would be outstanding.
I think I agree. Let's see what Minnesota Joe, the kindest, gentlest Matt Shatter, has to say.
Hey, friendos, it's the goatee champion and kindest member of Bullet Club, Minnesota Joe here, with another Matt Chat question. Now, since Comic-Con took place recently, and, we saw lots of stuff, I was talking with my buddies about it, and I mentioned that one guy I'd like to see in the DC Universe play Bane would be Minoru Suzuki, and that idea made me go, that is awesome. I'm actually going to be disappointed when they don't make Minoru Suzuki Bane, because I think he'd be excellent as Bane, just a guy who loves to hurt people. So that got me thinking, who are other wrestlers that would be awesome in the DC Cinematic Universe that would totally save it from being a crap show like it is right now? Just, what do you guys think? Who would you cast as, DC villains? And I'm not just saying, do top villains. I'm saying any villain you want, even Polka Dot Man, if you want to cast somebody as Polka Dot Man. And I mean any wrestler from who is just still alive, put him in a DC movie, Indies, WWE, New Japan, whatever. Thanks, friendos. Too sweet and a hearty handshake.
Thank you, Minnesota Joe.
Thank you, Minnesota Joe.
As you know, Larson, massive DC mark when I was a kid. Now I'm because of the movies, I'm more into the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Man, it's
Fair
so
point.
good. It's so good. Infinity Wars came out the other day, but he's not asking about Marvel. He's talking about DC. This is kind of my biggest one. Naomi is Green Lantern.
Well, she's not a villain, or that character's not a villain. That's what he said. DC movie villains.
Well, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna say hero. She can be an evil Green Lantern then.
All right.
But she's got the glow, and I like the glow aspect of things.
Yes.
I think she'd make a fantastic Green Lantern.
Okay.
So that's what I'm gonna say.
Fine.
And then Ambrose is the Joker.
All right. Who would make a good Lex Luthor? Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah. Tommaso Ciampa is Lex Luthor.
You know what I'd like to say? I'd like to see Kenny Omega as the Riddler.
That'd be good.
The way he delivers his evil promos, I think would be really good.
I know, that'd be good. That would be really good.
Riddle me this, Batman.
I know.
That'd
That'd be pretty great.
That'd be good.
Yeah, give me Tommaso Ciampa as Lex Luthor.
Okay, that's good. Who can Aleister Black be? I think there was a dude, like a tattoo man, like a tattoo guy. Bunch of tattoos. He can be a tattoo guy.
All right.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm not that familiar with the DC universe. Not as familiar as you are.
So much stuff is seeped out of my head. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Aleister Black is Sinestro, Green Lantern's opponent, and he could fight Naomi as Green Lantern.
What about Brainiac? Who should be Brainiac?
Lars Sullivan should be Killer Croc. That's actually dead on.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Brian Cage would be Bane.
Yes.
He literally cosplayed as that.
Yes.
I know it was WWE wrestlers, but it's Brian Cage.
Brainiac. Who should be Brainiac?
It could be Lex Luthor. Alberto Del Rio. That'd be good. Brainiac. I don't know. Tommaso Ciampa.
All right. Next, got a question from Davey Scott.
All right.
Let's see what Davey Scott has to say.
Okay.
Hey, friendos, and welcome to a Matt Chat question from the rainy lands of Aberdeen, Scotland. But I digress. Dave Meltzer's recent 6 to 7 star ratings for matches, does it devalue the merit of a 5-star and under match? Perhaps, I guess, they are justified within the context of the matches themselves, but for me, it should be taken with a grain of salt. I'm also fully aware it's just one man's opinion, and the star ranking is objective, match to match, even if he is the wrestling observer, who is, for the majority, pretty spot on with his ratings. To me, though, it doesn't ruin a match knowing that it's not gotten the highest possible star rating. There's other factors in the hype, the build, the crowd, just the general atmosphere of a match can sway it in terms of star rating or in terms of my enjoyment or whoever is watching's enjoyment of the match. But I guess, I don't know, maybe the star rating is justified, like I said, within the context of the matches themselves. But my main point is, does the 6 1/4, and the 7-star ratings respectively, does it kind of just piss all over a really good 5 or 4.5 or 4 3/4 star match. What's your thoughts? Thanks, friendos.
Thank you, Davey Scott.
Thank you, Davey Scott.
Of course, talking about the Wrestling Observer himself,
Dave Meltzer.
Dave Meltzer's star ratings.
Yeah.
Do 6 or 7 star matches devalue?
No, I don't think
the
so.
sacred 5-star.
I don't think so. If he was handing out 5 and 6-star ratings left and right, then I could see that. But I mean, he's done a handful of them.
Yeah.
So no, he just saves those ratings above 5 for the best of the best of the best of the best.
He seems to have realized that we have entered a new era of wrestling, where professional wrestling, thanks to a select few, is being taken to another level. Another level necessitates more stars.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, like Davey says, it's one man's opinion.
Exactly.
I think he's allowed to change the system up.
Yeah, and yes, it's completely subjective. So if you don't agree with them, so what?
You got to make your own star system.
Yeah,
like we're
or
going to do.
your own system of whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Frito burrito system.
3 many system.
3 many.
3 many.
If it's good, it's just 1 many.
Yeah.
If it's pretty darn good, 2 many.
Wow.
If it's
We're
off the
already at 2 many gets pretty darn good.
But if it's off the charts, then there's 3 many.
What's a dud?
None.
No.
No many.
No many.
No many.
Next up, we got Young Liam. See what he has to say.
Steve and Larson. My name is Young Liam Reborn, and I am the advocate for your reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl 52 champions, Philadelphia Eagles. Sharing the same home as the Eagles, from the corner of Rittner and Swanson at the 2300 Arena, bring you extreme wrestling for all across the 90s with names such as Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, Sabu, Raven, the Dudley Boys, among others, comes Extreme Championship Wrestling. Who, coming from this great land of wrestling, should be the first to headline a WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Take it away.
Thank you, Young Liam.
Thank you, Young Liam.
There's only one name of from the ECW originals list I can think of that could headline the Hall of Fame class, and it's Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
You look at the other names, I feel like, so the Dudleys have already been inducted. I had forgotten that. You reminded me of that.
Yeah, just last year.
They could have maybe been a headliner.
Maybe they don't really do that with tag teams.
I'll put it this way. No, you're right. They're the most successful ECW act to make it in WWE. Agreed? That's correct, right? RVD, TNA for Life mentioned RVD earlier. I'm not sure how much longer he would have had the WWE title. He probably would have carried the ECW title well into the ECW run, but because of the drug bust, he lost both of them pretty quickly. But no, if it's anybody, it'd be RVD. I still don't think he's going to be a headliner.
No,
though.
I don't think so.
There's
either.
too many names out there. Like, on the horizon, you've got Rock, Taker, Batista.
Yeah.
Those are 3 names. Maybe Batista wouldn't headline, but he's definitely more qualified than Rob Van Dam. So those 3 names are potential headliners. That's 3 years right there. And who knows when any 3 of them are gonna be inducted. So until then, you still have other names that are out there that could be Who do you think? Well, actually, who's going to be the next headliner?
Maybe The Rock.
You think that he would do that next?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. If they want to make a huge splash, I don't know.
Has Triple H been inducted yet?
No.
Maybe
they'll induct DX or something like that.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be fun.
I don't know. Anyways, our last video question of the day. We got one more text question afterwards. Comes from Zach S.
All right.
Let us see what Zach S has to say.
Nice.
What's good, Steve Larson? Many friendos out there. It's your official friendo first IWGP Heavyweight Champ, Zach S. Coming at you with another match chat question. Question this week is, I want you to, Stephen Larson, to book your very own Friendo Royal Rumble. Who enters first? Who enters last? Who wins it? Who gets most eliminations? Who's eliminated the quickest? And who is the Iron Man? All that stuff using the Friendos. Thanks, boys.
Thank you, Zach S.
Thank you, Zach S. So we got to book a Friendo Royal Rumble.
A Friendo Royal Rumble. Who's got most eliminations? Who's the Iron Man? First of all, who's the Iron Man?
I feel like Young Lion. He seems full of energy.
Yeah, he's got way too much energy.
So I think Young Lion would be the Iron Man. He'll come at number 2 last till the final 4.
Okay, but he's not going to win.
No.
No, he gets eliminated. I feel like it's Stevie Bradley's year.
Yeah,
to win the Friendo Rumble.
I say that too.
I feel like the Enforcers.
It's the Enforcers' time.
It is. It is. Least amount of time. Who gets in and then just gets chucked right out?
Oh, Patrick Sparks.
I was going to say the same thing. I was totally going to say Patrick. Because, dude, he's sitting there 1 week. He's high and drunk.
He's drinking some
Come
cider.
on. Yeah. Who's going to have...
most eliminations?
I mean, here's the thing. If it's from this week's batch of Matt Chatters, how is it not Christian? He's naked. So that's got to be scary. So he's going to throw a lot of people out or just scare them away. But then he doesn't win. Stevie Bradley wins. What else are we missing? Who does the crazy Kofi / John Morrison spot?
Well, Nonstop Player does all the crazy editing. Therefore, he gets the high spot.
All right, that's good. That's good. I like that.
What about Thayer Thabata?
Well, we already said Patrick Sparks would be the quickest one eliminated, but Thayer Thabata always has the quickest questions. So I don't know what that means. How does that translate?
He just runs to the ring fastest. I don't know.
He's the quickest to the ring.
Yeah, he's quickest to the ring.
But then maybe everybody teams up on him because he dropped that Ponzi scheme on them.
Could be.
And then he tries to back talk his way out of it, gets tossed over.
What about Mr. Dope?
Mr. Dope is... I'm trying to find a way to get Maya Dope involved as well. Maybe he's the guy who takes a scary bump, and then Adam Nuttall has to go over to Maya Dope at ringside and assure her everything's okay, like Randy Orton did with Shane McMahon.
All right. But Stevie Bradley, the Enforcer, the winner of 2018 Friendo Royal
There you
Rumble.
go. There you
Congratulations, Stevie Bradley.
There you have it.
One final question. It is a text question. Comes from Thomas Fox. He says, I've been hearing rumors that after Evolution, WWE wants to start having more intergender matches. My question is strictly hypothetical, and under no circumstance do I see any of this happening. But if WWE were to make intergender matches a normal occurrence, should they retire the women's championship belts? If so, who should be the first woman to win either the Universal or the WWE championship? First of all, if they do more intergender wrestling, it'd probably be more... it'd be tag matches.
It'd be mixed matches.
Yeah. It'd be
mixed tag matches.
Mixed tag matches.
Yeah. That's a bit different. You can have a little bit of
Well,
crossover.
no, I wouldn't be surprised they do intergender tag matches, but I don't think they're going to do a whole lot of one-on-one intergender matches.
Right, that's what I was talking about.
Well, mixed tag is where
men have to fight men and women have to fight
but
women.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do intergender.
Oh, I'd be surprised.
I mean, Triple H a couple weeks ago said that he sounded like he was softening on his previous comments about no intergender wrestling.
Yeah, but come on, they're never. I'll put it this way: who did
well, we saw
didn't Brian Cage fight like Tessa or Deanna Prazo or who did Brian Cage? Was it Tessa
Blanchard? I think.
Was it?
So
you wouldn't see that in WWE. My point is,
no.
You're
I think what
that.
you're going to see is more stuff like the Ronda Rousey match at Mania.
Yeah, right.
Where
yeah.
I know it was a mixed tag match, but
there's
a
limited
lot of
stuff.
There was some limited stuff in it.
Compared to a real match, compared to a full match, there's a limited amount of of intergender action.
Yes.
Yeah, and you saw a little bit of that in the mixed match challenge.
A
little bit.
But I think it'd be more than mixed match challenge, probably on par with the Rousey stuff.
Okay, sure, yeah. Where they just they free up the booking a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wouldn't be like, I mean, beyond, you get Becky Lynch versus James or Asuka versus James Ellsworth. That's just silly gimmick stuff. We're talking about actual competition. I don't think, we'd see it in limited amounts.
Yeah. Instead of getting rid of any belts, the most they might do is some intergender tag titles. But even that, I'd be kind of surprised.
Even that, I would be very surprised. But yeah, that's as far as they'd go. Cool. Anyways, that's it for Matt Chat. Thanks everybody so much for your questions. Of course, you can submit your video at the Patreon at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. $20 and up a month. the $20 a month and up mark, you can submit your Matt Chat question. Till next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.